Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic, and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, there's another podcast video with my good buddy Recon Trooper over here.
Hey there, folks. Recon Trooper here, and if you're watching my thing, I hope you enjoy the Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order gameplay in the background. And hopefully, I won't be interrupting Franchise as much as last time.
It's all good. It's all good. I live for it. But
well, I watch our podcast, and sometimes I notice that I interrupt a lot, and especially the last time, I was just like, "Would you shut up, Recon Trooper? Just let him finish," or whatever he's about to say.
Yeah, it's all good.
Anyway,
but yeah, enjoy. Those are two pretty good games. I don't know what I'm doing for mine. I'm playing Elden Ring as we're doing this, but that's on PlayStation. I'll figure something out. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to like the video, subscribe if you're new to both Recon Trooper and myself. We're going to be talking about some pretty cool topics here. I have a few, and he has a few as well. But I'm going to let Recon start off with the first topic here, and we'll get the ball rolling here.
All right. Well, first, it's not really a topic. It's just a question and a clarification, and then a topic.
Okay.
But, I just wanted to ask, when you mentioned Godzilla King of the Monsters in your Mission Impossible review and compared the films, did you actually mean Godzilla vs. Kong?
I probably did.
Yeah, because you mentioned mentioned the scene of Godzilla attacking people, and that's when I started like, wait a second, you sure you're talking about the right film? That didn't happen in King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think and you were saying that you were getting confused a lot in Godzilla vs. Kong. You said King of the Monsters was just you were confused with the time and not so much the movie.
Yeah, I think I was either very stressed or very sleep deprived, but yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to make sure, because, when I watched your Mission Impossible 1 review, you mentioned it, and then all of a sudden you mentioned the Godzilla attacking people, and I'm like, wait, what? That's not right. So,
I did it deliberately to keep
and
you on your toes.
also a clarification. I said last podcast you asked how long New Empire is, and I said 155 minutes, but I think I meant an hour and 55 minutes.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, because I think I saw an
it's
article on that.
It's still longer by 2 minutes, but it's not. 155 minutes. I had to make sure. I had to listen to myself, and I'm like, oh, I didn't mean 100 minutes. I meant an hour, not 100. 100 would Adam Wingard would never do unless he was unless somebody probed him somehow.
Right. Well, we know those 2 minutes are going to be, credits probably.
Well, some of them are, yeah, but
yeah.
What did you think of the new trailer?
Speaking of that, yeah, that was my thing too. So I did see the new trailer. I remember you sent that to me. I was in math class when you sent it, and I was like, I want to watch this, but I have to do math.
Well, I didn't say you'd watch it right away. I just posted it so that you could watch it when you could.
Yeah. As soon as I got home, I went on. Put it on my TV. It looks cool. I think that it is looking like a good continuation of what we got last time with Godzilla vs. Kong, and I think that it kind of plays nicely into, like, they even mention it in the trailer. They don't like each other, but they got to work together. Like, they got to, they got to separate their feelings and whatnot. I don't know how I feel about Baby Kong. Or like the baby monkey, I think the CGI looks a little ropey.
Simo or Sumo or something is his name.
Yeah, maybe it's just because the movie's not done, but I don't know. The effects on that look a little too goofy. Like Kong and Godzilla look very realistic.
A lot of people compare it with Godzilla -1 and say how good it is, and the Godzilla fandom is basically becoming the new Star Wars fandom, if you get my meaning, because everybody's bashing the MonsterVerse now, all because of how good -1 is. And there's this one channel I've been watching recently. It's called OmniViewer, and he talks mainly about Godzilla stuff, or MonsterVerse stuff, or whatever you want to... Kaiju, as they're called. And he was basically,
Right.
one of his recent videos, he was basically, pointing this out because it's getting really annoying. All these people, and when any new article or something about GXK, you always see comments saying Godzilla -1 blows this one to bits, or like they use more foul language for when they say it, but basically,
Right.
yeah, like it's just like with the sequel trilogy, people bash it still, saying but I'll get to that later in the podcast because I do want to talk about that something in the sequel trilogy.
Okay.
But yeah, like Omniviewer is basically saying that like they're different, but there's nothing. What's wrong with them being different? For that matter, the MonsterVerse is meant to be entertaining. It's meant to be a form of escapism, whereas -1 is meant to, it's meant to say something, so to speak. And
Okay. Well, that's interesting because I haven't seen -1. I
yeah, I
didn't know
haven't
that.
either. And I mean, I'm kind of thinking of maybe seeing it when it comes out, but apparently, I don't know. People say that Shin Godzilla came out like a year after it theaters, and so if we have to wait a year, then I guess I'll just take my time waiting. But I might see.
So basically, we haven't seen it, so that means we're very qualified to talk about it.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean,
perfect.
I mean,
no, but it's interesting.
yeah. But he's basically saying, people keep saying you need a choice and all this, and he's saying, like it's basically comparing -1 to the MonsterVerse and saying that the MonsterVerse is garbage now because -1 is so good is basically like he feels like it's an attack on escapism or something. And
okay. Yeah.
And then
Well,
he's saying
cycle,
like, what's
right?
wrong? What's wrong with escapism? Why is that a bad thing for people to just want to turn their brains off for a chat for a minute, couple hours, and just watch something that has nothing to do with thinking, unless you're really, like you said it with the sequel trilogy, unless you're really trying to understand what's going on, or if you don't really care about what's going on, and there's only like a lot of people are into the monster fights on the MonsterVerse, and that's it. But just turn your brain off. Don't worry about life for 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's funny you mention that because we both have seen the MonsterVerse to its extent. I mean, I haven't seen the Kurt Russell thing yet, but
yeah,
I mean,
it's actually not too as bad as I thought. I mean, episode 5 is the
good.
W one, but it's not a whole lot of stuff in there, and there are some references to the all the movies up to versus Kong anyway. And,
that's good. That's cool. Yeah, I gotta see that.
Although
funny you mentioned
whether there's things referencing GXK, I don't know, because obviously I haven't seen it yet. So
right.
But
when is that show set? Like in the timeline? What time period?
The main thing is 2015. And then each episode also has a second timeline in the past. And it's kind of like one is like a majority of the past episodes are basically like even before Kong Skull Island. So Randa is alive and he's young, and he's there is one episode
Not played by the same guy though.
No, of course not. But
okay. Okay, good.
Yeah, there's one episode that, if you remember the whole nuking Godzilla thing in 2014, they actually have an episode where the past timeline of that episode is about that, basically. Like, they basically show them trying to nuke Godzilla, although they didn't get it quite right because, spoiler alert, he stands up in this one, whereas obviously if you saw the movie, he's kind of just coming out of the water when the thing goes off.
Right.
But overall, though, it's basically that scene, that 1954 thing.
Well, that's cool that it like connects still.
Yeah. And there is a cameo at the end. I'm not gonna say who it is. There is a cameo at the end of
Okay.
a special monster that you'll probably recognize when you see him. And
I'm intrigued.
yeah, and there's actually it's not. Some people say it's not really an important fight, but it is still a cool fight. There's a one at the end that Godzilla fights another monster that is only in the show, and it's short.
Okay.
It's short, but it's still pretty cool. It's kind of like it's kind of like when Kong fights those the war bats in GVK.
Oh, okay.
They're those flying snake-looking things.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of about that length of time of a fight. But, I mean, it's a show, so of course it's not going to be longer.
Well, are the effects good? Like, do the
Yeah,
monster, like, is the CGI good?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, I don't have your eyes, so I don't know what bad CGI looks like for the most part. And I'm not watching Quantumania, though, so forget about it. But because you say it's horrible, and I've even seen, like I said, I've seen pictures of MODOK, so it kind of I don't want to see an Xbox Avatar in a live action movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's a pretty decent show. A lot of it connects. I mean, it doesn't obviously, it doesn't like, to be continued in King of the Monsters or whatever kind of thing. Kind of connect. But there's references, of course. There's things that if you've seen the movies, you'll recognize them once you see like the names or the location or, of course, the monster. Like the one that
Gotcha.
I teased. This is one I have to tiptoe and tease again because you haven't seen it. But yeah, it's a decent show, and when I do my marathon before I go see GXK, I'm gonna watch it again.
That's cool. How many episodes?
10, 2 discs.
Okay.
And one disc had a scratch on it, and I was kind of nervous, but all it really does is, I don't know if it happens to you, but sometimes when you watch a Blu-ray or DVD, the screen sort of pixelates for a millisecond. So,
roughly, yeah. I think I've had that before.
Yeah, it sort of does that, but fortunately, as far as I could tell, that's all it does. So the scratch isn't a big deal, I guess. And the only thing, the big thing that's annoying is because I think because it's from eBay, and it's obviously not an official release like it should be.
Right, yeah.
They don't have the whole, how subtitles are supposed to appear when somebody's talking in a language that's not English.
Yeah. They don't have that?
No, they don't have that, and so a lot of the time I was turning subtitles on and off because there's a lot of Japanese in that.
Okay.
And I'm not going to do that next time, though, because it's just really annoying having to... Because you can't even time it right all the time, Like, you hear them start talking in Japanese, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, gotta turn the subtitles on. So it's just...
And then you're frantically hitting buttons.
Yeah, and not watching the thing. But...
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just going to have to... I will do it with Skull Island, though, because that one, there's only a few things, especially that one episode with Kong and that girl. But overall, it's
yeah, what's her name?
She doesn't have a name in the show.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah, she's just kind of... I think even on the Wiki page, she's just called Island Girl or something.
Okay.
But yeah, so... But yeah, it's decent. I mean... I actually wasn't looking at the W stuff when it was on screen. I kind of timed it, so just when it looked like they were about to kiss, I turned away. So that's what I do on the Rise of Skywalker scene too. I know exactly when it's coming because I've seen it, in the past a few
Yeah.
times, so I know exactly when it's coming. There's like a white fox-looking alien, and then it cuts to the women, and I kind of turned my head in such a way that I don't actually see it, but I can still see the screen. So when it changes, I can look back.
Okay, yeah, you got a whole plan going.
Yeah, so, but yeah, it's decent, and yeah, Kurt Russell is a pretty good character. The young characters, they're kind of, I don't know how to describe them. You'll see them when you do it, and then you can tell in your review what you think of them.
Okay.
If you think,
I thought, was it the last podcast that you mentioned that like the internet hates them or something?
yeah, the internet says that that the three young characters are really like insufferable or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't have quite the mindset of the internet, although the internet, in my opinion, is just a sewer and it's full of rats these days. That's how I call it. What I call it now, just rats in the sewer. But yeah, but I mean, the characters aren't too bad. I mean, yeah, they have their little bickerings and all that, like young characters always do, and sometimes I kind of wish, like, would you guys just shut up and just be nice to each other for a change? But
yeah, please.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's an okay show. It's maybe a little better than well, of course it's a little better than the Skull Island show, because first it's live action, second there's more episodes, third it's longer, and four it has more monsters in it.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, and the monsters aren't quite so bad. It's kind of like Godzilla times 10, I guess. Like if Godzilla, the 2014 movie, was condensed even more into a 40-minute episode, and then you times that by 10, that's kind of how the monsters appear. So they're still not like crazy appearing like you'd hope, but they're certainly not lacking in appearances either. They're kind of, because it is cool. It is Monarch. It is called Monarch Legacy of Monsters, not Monsters Legacy of Monarch. So humans are going to be the center of this thing.
That's true. That's a good point.
But anyway, so
well, I'm glad it's good because I got to watch it.
Yeah, and so yeah, I'll watch it again sometime before I see GXK. But
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So
at least the disc worked, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was worried about when I saw that scratch. Because I got a thing, a Star Wars Skywalker Saga thing, hoping that it would be like updated in terms of certain things, especially in the older movies with the CGI and stuff, because the lightsabers in the original trilogy, like, I don't care what anybody says about the original trilogy being the best Star Wars, the effects look horrible, especially on the lightsabers. In the first one...
Oh, yeah, I mean... Yeah, A New Hope is just like a stick.
Yeah, like you see this cyan blue lightsaber that Luke turns on, and then it goes from that to being this kind of greenish looking blade, and then it goes from that to just being a white blade with no color on it. And then it gets a little more color back when he successfully fights the remote. And,
right, yeah.
And I mean, yeah, Empire also had some weird lightsaber stuff, mainly in the case of Darth Vader, because his lightsaber is pink or magenta most of the time. Not red like you'd think, but...
Gotta love it, right?
Yeah. But anyway, and so, yeah, some of those discs had scratches, and so I watched the Rise of Skywalker one, and just after the Battle of Exegol is when the bad part started to kick in, and it started to freeze, and skip, and just wasn't stopped working properly. So,
Sure.
and it was just because of one little scratch on the disc. That's all it takes.
I know, it's always one little thing every time.
So, and the scratch on this one is like halfway through the disc, like it's kind of like a radius almost line going from the hole in the center just about halfway up to where the disc, the reflective material usually is,
Gotta love the inconsistency.
So, but all it does is just do the pixelating thing, nothing more. So,
Okay.
that's all. I can endure it as long as it doesn't affect the audio. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, as long as it's watchable, I think they should be fine.
yeah. So, but yeah. So, what's your next topic?
So mine was actually Assassin's Creed Valhalla because I wanted to ask your opinion. What Assassin's Creed games have you played, and which one, in terms of Valhalla, what's your score? What do you think about it? What's your overall opinion?
I actually didn't realize this until I was looking at all the games that I have played, like overall, since 360 days. Apparently, I played one game. It must have been brief because I don't even remember playing it. I don't even remember which one it was. I think it was Revolutions or something.
Well, because one of the older ones.
Yeah. But yeah, Valhalla. Ubisoft really needs a good wedgie done to them in a lot of that game because it's okay. Like, I'm not against the open world or anything. The weapons are pretty awesome. In fact, in my gameplay, I'm using quite a few of them. Not tons of them, but just enough for a podcast. And I've just been coming across so many things that just they should have either fixed or changed to be better.
Okay.
Like, like those the rats, the swarm rats, rat swarms. They should have made them either, if there's no grates, they should have made them killable, or they should have added grates where there should have been grates for them.
Now, is this the DLC, or are you talking because I don't think I don't really have
the DLCs. It's only in the DLCs. It's only in Siege of Paris, which you did play, I know, because I compared Gamerscore with you on it. Just to see what achievements you have that I don't, that I had to get to make sure I had them too. And then there's also ones in the Dawn of Ragnarok, which is what I played first. That's how I knew about them.
Dawn of Ragnarok. I really want to get.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool overall place. I mean, it's basically the mountains, like, the mountains in the base game, and then Dawn of Ragnarok, it's basically mountains of gold. So, like imagine a mountaintop, like it's not covered in snow or anything. It's just you see this giant rock thing, but then imagine it made out of gold instead of just plain rock, and that's what is in Dawn of Ragnarok all over the place.
It's like, how big of?
It's like giant, massive mounds of gold just coming out of the ground, really. And you still climb them like mountains and stuff, but you can definitely tell it's not a typical mountain. It's gold.
Right.
You want to just go and reach into the game and rip a chunk of it off.
Yeah, right. I'm rich.
Yeah, so.
Now, how big of a map is Dawn of Ragnarok compared to the Valhalla?
It's actually maybe bigger than, I don't know if you remember Siege of Paris, but it's kind of approximately the same idea. There's about 4 or 5 sections. So it's not as big as England. It's not as big as England, but it's still big enough that there's lots to do, and there's lots and lots of opals all over the place.
Good. I love getting opals.
Yeah. And, well, that's my thing with this game is I made sure in Dawn of Ragnarok to clear as much of it as I could before I actually started playing it. After I unlocked, like, once I could actually open the world map and everything, I just kind of stopped doing the story right after I was able to open the world map and stuff, and just do what I could until it was mostly cleared out, except for a couple of things that you need a dumb quest to get to.
Every time there's a dumb quest.
Yeah. But yeah, it was okay. It's where Dawn of Ragnarok. I had Dawn of Ragnarok purchased when I got the game, and so all those things all those Animus store items that I got were already at divine quality.
Oh, that's cool.
So when I was watching your version of our podcast, I was kind of looking at your vibrant weapons, and I'm like, oh, it's probably because he doesn't have the Dawn of Ragnarok yet that there's still only mythic quality.
Yep, that's why. I think, was I using like the lightsaber looking things?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Among some other things that I have that you have too, and but yeah, all your stuff is just mostly mythic, and I'm like, well, I've got divine, so.
Yeah, eat on that franchise. Yeah, no, one day I'll get it for sure, because I swear to God, man, Ragnarok is one of my favorite games ever. Or, excuse me, Valhalla. It's such a
Ragnarok,
good game. Like,
Ragnarok you could call a separate game if you want, because there's things that the base game doesn't have in it that only Ragnarok has.
Right, yeah, it's such an expansive game, man. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, like I really mean that. Like, there's this thing called Hooger. I forget what the second part of the name is, but it's basically this new device that you have on your other arm. You know, like the one arm he's got the blade, and then there's this the thing he puts on the other arm, and then it gives you these kinds of powers, like you can become like immune to heat, so you can walk on lava and not burn in 5 seconds.
Well, that's helpful.
And then there's also one where you can actually turn into a raven and fly.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And there's one that you can teleport when you shoot certain targets. Or there's even like one achievement I got a few days ago was you have to do a teleport assassination on 2 guys and then fly away. And so, yeah, it's a pretty cool device. But you can only use it in that. You can't bring it back with you like everything else you can. You can't. It's only in the Dawn of Ragnarok, only in Svartalfheim, as it's called.
It's funny how crazy that series has gotten, though. Like, the first one's like, oh yeah, you're in Jerusalem assassinating a flob and blob or whatever, and then this one's like, yeah, you can turn into a friggin' bird.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
But
it's cool though.
I will say I wasn't expecting Avatar to be in the game.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember when it exactly was. It must have been like after the first third of the game or something. And all of a sudden all of a sudden I'm playing as this woman in this dig site. I'm like, what the heck is this?
Layla, I think her name is, right?
Yeah, Layla, Kayla, something.
So the thing about her is, and this is why I brought it up, because I'm currently working on Assassin's Creed Origins DLC, which is the one in Egypt, and Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla are actually a trilogy, and Valhalla is the last of the trilogy, at least for now. I don't know what there's Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is of course like a prequel to Valhalla about Basm, and then there's
But it
Codename
doesn't
Red,
count.
which is like it does actually. It's canon. It's
Well, no, you said
way
those other three are a trilogy, so it would Mirage make it a quadrilogy?
yeah, I guess. I mean, it's weird. Like it's separate but equal
Okay.
in a weird way, I guess. But yeah, in that same retrospect, there's Codename Red, which we don't have a title for, but that's like the Japan one. But it's really cool because when you play Origins, you play as Bayek, this Egyptian cop, but then you also go back and out of the Animus, and you play as Layla. So the reason why you're confused is that Layla is.
Well, I was confused at the time. I'm not anymore. And besides, she apparently she's dead or something now. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, some
at
weird
the end.
shit's going down.
But
It's a weird. I love you guys listening. I love Assassin's Creed. It's probably my second favorite, or maybe third. I don't know. It's good. But ever since I played it, and I haven't played all of them, but I'm almost to that point. A lot of them, for some reason, I just don't give a crap about the Layla or the Desmond stuff. Like, I see what they're trying to do, and I get it. Like, I'm not stupid. I know what they're doing, but it's just I don't like it. I'd rather just keep playing as the assassin than get out of the Animus and listen to Layla spout nonsense for 20 minutes.
Yeah, but
I know that's not like an original take. It's not like, oh, really? You don't like that? But it's just, I don't know, man. It just doesn't hit for me the same way that maybe Ubisoft wants it to.
Yeah,
just
but
weird.
But yeah, and then there's other some things that I didn't like were some of the puzzle things.
Okay.
What are they called? They're like these holographic things that you play as Layla, and you have to hop around.
Oh yeah.
I forget what they're called, but yeah, they were annoying.
So how many hours do you have in Valhalla? Because I think that's
than you. That's all I know.
Elden Ring's up there, but
more than you.
How many you said?
I said more than you. I don't know how many.
Really? Okay, because I have like 250.
Yeah, well, I must have 290, maybe less. I don't know.
Jeez. I mean, that's good, right? I mean, it shows you like playing it.
Well, I'm just a completionist, I guess. When I start something, I want to finish it for the most part. Still haven't finished Outer Worlds. I don't know. After so long, I guess I just got kind of bored with it. Not that it's a bad game. It just, I just kind of suddenly lost interest with it after a while. So. Okay. But
I've never played that. Is it good?
Yeah, it's okay. It's kind of a cross between Knights of the Old Republic, Call of Duty, and I don't know.
Fallout, right?
Well, I've never played Fallout, but basically, yeah, you can put attachments on your guns and weapons, and there's it's a first-person view. But you have two other people with you, like in Knights of the Old Republic. You have two other people with you, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pretty decent game. Because I know the people that I just haven't finished it because I lost interest with it.
Okay.
And it's not because, like I said, it's not because it's a bad game. It just, I don't know. It's kind of like when you play Super Mario for a week and then you just kind of stop playing it all of a sudden because you or something.
Life happens, I guess. Yeah. I know that the people that made Fallout, I believe, New Vegas. So I mean, it's got some talent behind it. For some reason, I skipped it. I don't know.
Yeah.
One day I'll get it.
But yeah, it's a decent game. But yeah, and then back to Valhalla. I finished the Siege of Paris, or not Siege of Paris, Wrath of the Druids today. So I'm basically done all the DLCs now, except for the Forgotten Saga, which I could care less about. And there's
What's that one? I forgot. What's that one about?
Odin. You basically play as Odin, and you go into this realm that's kind of like a dream realm, and you don't get to take your stuff with you or anything, so you basically pick it up as you go, and every time there's no saving or anything, so you basically, once you quit, you restart the whole thing. And
That's right. Okay, I remember now.
yeah, and I think
I played that. It's infuriating when you die.
yeah, well,
Like, it sucks.
I haven't actually died. I just wanted to get certain things from it. Like I think there was an Atgeir that you have that I wanted to get too.
Mm-hmm.
And I played it just to get it, and there's also an achievement that you started, and I saw, and I decided I'd try to go for it. It's where you have to kick 10 guys off an edge with that kick of tire ability. And so I did that today. But yeah, I haven't really had interest in playing it, so to speak. And it's certainly not the mastery challenges. But
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot to that game, man. As far as Assassin's Creed, like I said, I haven't played. I played a lot of them,
yeah,
and Origins is. I mean, all the new RPG ones are pretty crazy long, but Valhalla, man, I remember getting that game on Xbox One. It ran like not too great, but I mean, it was doable. I played a lot of it on there, and then I just remember like falling in love with it. Like it was such a well-made game. Like it was crazy that a lot of people didn't like it.
Yeah, but there's
It's got issues,
so many,
you know, I mean,
so many glitches in that game too. One was happening to me today earlier, where my arrow capacity, like not the actual capacity, but for some reason like half of my arrows were gone. So
that's weird.
I like to use the light bow on the thing, and you can have a maximum of 40 arrows, but I was looking at my thing, and all of a sudden it said 20. And I know I didn't shoot 20 arrows at anybody, even though sometimes it feels like it with all the missing and not instant kills or anything. But
yeah,
and so I had to replenish my arrows and get out of there, like actually quit the game and then come back on later. So
okay,
it's all the arrows.
Though, right?
Yeah, it's all the arrows though. It's not just one type of arrows. Like all three types basically get cut in half somehow. So I then start picking up arrows for the other two bows as well, and it's just
weird. Yeah, I don't think I've had that issue.
Yeah,
I don't think.
I also had
I have so many hours.
I also had one where I fell through the ground, so
that's fun.
Yeah, and then there's one sometimes where I'll be trying to get down a cliff or something, and I'll end up getting stuck between a rock and the cliff, and he'll still be looking like he's falling, and it's just stuck there. And then after a while, he'll finally hit the surface, and because he's technically still falling for so long, he dies instantly. And it's not even a very high up place that I jumped from, so
yeah,
just
that's odd.
But you know, it's okay for the most part. I got I got a lot of weapons found on it. I got like I said, I'm a completionist, so every location I've basically swept through. So
that's good. How did you feel when you unlocked Mjolnir or no, I'm sorry, Excalibur?
It was well, the first time I discovered it, I didn't unlock it. Was kind of just by accident, because like I said, I was kind of just combing through the place, and then I came across this location that looked like nothing else in the game, and and then I saw this room where all of a sudden these tablets that I was collecting I could put in, and I only had 3 more apparently left. Well, but before I was done, so that I didn't have. So, but yeah, I made sure the second I got the third one to go back there, which I couldn't remember where it was after that. So I had to use the internet to find it again.
Okay.
But yeah, it was okay, and I also liked Mjolnir and Gungnir.
Yeah, those are cool, man.
Yeah, and
I think it's also really cool because it's an RPG. Like, I like the fact that you can literally make like a Thor build, and then you can make like a samurai. I mean, there's a lot of unique things in that game, which is really like. I mean, every RPG does
there is
that,
a thing called river raids. I don't know if you've done that.
I've done a few.
Yeah, you can unlock like an armory, so you can have 5 different loadouts, and there is a glitch with that too, though. Whereas if you do this weapon swap with one loadout, and then you change the loadout, go from like loadout A to loadout B, and then you go back to loadout A, then all of a sudden something will be automatically unequipped on your guy. Like
Weird.
Maybe it's a torso piece, or maybe it's all 5 pieces or whatever. So for some reason, it just unequips, but
are you able to like re-equip it?
Yeah, but I don't know why it just doesn't stay equipped. I mean, and like in the armory building that you can add to your settlement, you have like these kind of mannequins that have all the equipment for that loadout on them, and so I did that. I swapped weapons with one of my loadouts while looking at the mannequin, and it just all of a sudden the armor just vanished, and all it was this naked mannequin. That's how I figured it out. Like, oh, that's why this loadout suddenly had no clothes on.
Yeah,
So I guess I can't.
You gotta love Ubisoft. I mean, they make really good games, but lots of glitches.
Yeah, I don't love Ubisoft. I think they need a good wedgie or two, because like honestly, how can you be so incompetent with a game? I mean,
I mean, these games take years.
Well, I guess so, but
they're not. It's just it's crazy. Like I think Ubisoft are masters at making open world like design. But in terms of quality, I think they could be a little bit better.
Yeah, but not that they'll actually be, because they know people will just buy these things.
True. Like me.
Call of Duty, everybody buys Call of Duty, even if it is pretty much the same thing. Maybe some slight changes, but overall same, and sometimes worse than previous things, for that matter.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
And it's just, so. But, yeah, so my next topic, my sequel trilogy thing.
Yes.
So, okay, so first of all, would you say that everything Snoke sees and says and knows and all that, Palpatine sees, says, and knows as well?
Yeah, so
well, just yes,
basically
yes or no first, because the main question is coming. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then how would you explain Snoke somehow knowing that Rey and Kylo Ren have this Force bond, when he says in his throne room, it was I who bridged your minds, but then when Palpatine is confronting Rey, and first she does the lightsaber thing, and then he kind of absorbs their dyad energy, and it's like he doesn't know how. He was kind of surprised by that. So how do you explain Snoke apparently knowing about it, but Palpatine not?
Yeah. So okay, I'll retract my statement because a lot of what. Mainly when Kylo is using the Force to talk to Darth Vader's helmet or whatever, just kind of get that.
Yeah.
That's Palpatine. A lot of Snoke, his influence is, Palpatine really, of course, like the clone husk or whatever, but Snoke is a failed Palpatine clone in essence. No, straight up, that's what he is. But it's very much a case that he is still, even though he's kind of tethered to Palpatine, like his mind, he's still his own person. And there's actually some cool Star Wars comic books that I read where right when Ben Solo's kind of still deciding if he wants to be with Luke or join Snoke, Snoke has all this, he's like on a gardening planet, and he's literally like wearing gardener clothes and stuff, and he's kind of tending flowers.
Yeah.
And I think it's really unique that Snoke is, still, as I said, tethered, but he has this ability where he's still his own person. Just like Rey's dad, Dathan, or Dathan or whatever, he's a failed Palpatine clone as well. And, he's still able to think. So it's kind of weird. But yeah, when Palpatine genuinely had no idea that they were a dyad in Episode 9, Snoke... So you could look at it either like that, or the second way I like to look at it is that Snoke straight up is lying. Because, when Kylo talks to Snoke, after Kylo kills Snoke, he's like, yeah, Rey, your parents are nobodies. That's complete BS. Like he's just straight up lying.
Yeah.
Because, we find out in Episode 9, Kylo literally asks Palpatine, who is she? So he doesn't know. So Snoke is a manipulator. He lies to Kylo, or, Ben, all the time to get what he wants. And that kind of emotionally effed him up in a lot of ways. But I think, in regards to that, yeah. I mean, in the lore, in the canon, it's that basically Snoke is his own person.
Yeah. And how do you suppose Snoke would have known about the dyad, though? Because, he wasn't force projecting his mind or anything across, or, like spying on Ben when he was doing all these connective moments with Rey. So
yeah.
How would he know that?
I don't think
How would he have linked their minds if he didn't, I don't know. It's confusing.
It is, yeah. Like I said, I really think that... I really think that Snoke was just complete BSing to everyone, because he kind of wanted... At that moment, Snoke was basically going to say anything to get Kylo back. Because he was, he's full of hubris, kind of like Luke in a little bit. He's like, oh yeah, like when Kylo's about to kill him, he's like, I see the lightsaber and all that. He doesn't even notice anything. He's that high on himself, where he's like, yeah, Kylo's cool. He's with me. And I think he really just wanted to manipulate Rey in that sense, and just really screw with her.
I guess, again, I don't know how Snoke would have known at all that Rey and Kylo were sort of communicating that way, but it's not, it wasn't just the mind that they were bridging, like it's a, they actually touched each other too. It's not like mentally touching each other.
Right. Like same with where they transfer the lightsabers over.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. Is it safe to call that a flaw, that we don't know how Snoke knows all this stuff that Palpatine doesn't about this, or that he's just...
yeah, technically. Maybe, although I will say, before we label it as a flaw, maybe we should look this up, because whenever I have a question and I don't know it, I'm sure there's a reason, because that's like the biggest plot hole in the history of cinema ever, if that's the case.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. But I do really genuinely love the fact, though, that Snoke is just like a puppet of Palpatine. But people need to know that when they say puppet of Palpatine, he's not like actually like it's not like Snoke's brain is literally Palpatine's brain. Like they're their own person with their own thoughts and feelings. It's just that Snoke was basically a Plan Z essentially,
it's
for
I just found
for Palpatine.
I found a small thing here. It says before his death, Snoke knew that Rey and Ren were the prophecy dyad in the Force, and so how would he have known that? His like
Maybe just
is
through
there
the Force. I don't know.
some ancient Sith text that maybe he found a long time ago? I mean, Snoke doesn't seem like the kind that travels. He just sits on his throne all the time. But
Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, you bring up a good point because a lot of the old Sith
but
stuff is based on that, like the
yeah,
whole Exegol blade and all that. Like all that, everything on Exegol, where he was made, is traced to the beginning of the Sith heritage.
yeah.
So
So,
maybe that could be the reason.
but yeah, that's just something I needed your opinion on because I mean, I couldn't
Well, now
really
let me look
figure
at.
it
Now
out.
I'm curious.
But yeah, it's just because a lot of people think that Snoke and Palpatine sort of knew Snoke. Because you hear even at the beginning of Episode 9, you hear Palpatine sort of do Snoke's voice very briefly. So clearly, Palpatine sort of knew everything Snoke knew if he's the one making Snoke's voice basically to Ben all this time or whatever.
Right.
But, or maybe that is what Snoke sounds like, and Palpatine just sounds like that when he's trying sort of, I don't know, force communicating with Ben or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's interesting, yeah, because like I said, I like the fact that Kylo kind of like worships the Darth Vader helmet, but as we know, he doesn't really know this,
Yeah.
but the audience knows that Anakin turned to the light side before he died. So really, Kylo talking to Darth Vader, he's thinking he's talking to Darth Vader, but he's really just talking to Palpatine, masquerading. And I think that's kind of the same thing with Snoke, because it's weird because Snoke is what's called the Strand Cast.
Yeah.
Same with Rey's dad. They're basically just jacked up clones, kind of like the Bad Batch in a way, but evil. And it's difficult to explain, but it is interesting because, as I said, Snoke's like his own person, but
if
he
you're
still
listening,
is.
if you're
Palpatine is
listening,
still manipulating him.
Lucasfilm, make a comic or something explaining this so this confusion can be put to rest too.
I know, like I'm even googling it now, like.
Yeah, finally got you thinking about the sequels again, like really thinking.
Yeah. So.
But. So.
Don't mind me. I'm typing away.
Yeah, that's fine. So we got a little time left before an hour. So anything you want to talk about? Anything more? I should say.
I kind of wanted to bring up games, like video game movies, because we know that the Borderlands movie is coming out, and I'm excited for it, but I'm also nervous about it. But in terms of video game movies, which ones have you seen, and what do you think are the best and worst?
I've seen most of the original Resident Evil ones. I didn't see what was it called, the final chapter or something. I haven't seen that one, but I saw the other, I think 5. And I remember seeing the original Mario Brothers movie a long time ago. I barely remember it, except that it's Yoshi basically looks like a baby T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Right?
As opposed to what we know Yoshi to look like. But I don't remember a whole lot of it. And Sonic is the recent one I've seen. And I'm actually pumped to see the third one soon when it comes out.
Yeah, I am. What about the Knuckles show?
Well, I don't have Paramount Plus, so I'll probably eBay it when it's over.
Yeah, same here.
Because all these streaming services, I mean, if they would announce that they're gonna release it like maybe a week before the last episode, and they announce that it's gonna be out, in like 2 months down the road or something, then I could wait. But they never announced things like that, so. And
tell me about it.
Yeah, it's just annoying as heck. So I just probably just do the eBay thing again with Knuckles when it's out. Over.
Okay.
But yeah, I look forward to seeing the third one. I'm hoping that Robotnik is in this and not. A lot of people are well, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but I've seen articles suggesting like a way they can justify Jim Carrey returning without bringing Robotnik back because they feel like it would ruin the ending of Sonic 2. But unless you actually see somebody die, it doesn't ruin a thing.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think that
like how
that's
many
true. We don't see him dying.
How many times in comic books do you see the villain fall off a cliff or something and they're gone and you know, like, does it ruin the fact that they come back later on, you know?
Yeah. I mean, Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah. What about Winter Soldier?
Well, it's confirmed that Jim Carrey is back, but
Yeah.
obviously he's back as Robotnik. But yeah, he didn't die. It'll be interesting to see what happens because, and then we have Shadow the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah. And so
I'm pumped for Shadow, man. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing. I hope he's gonna be a good match for all three of them, and he's not gonna be. Apparently, he's an anti-hero in the Sonic lore, so he's not an outright villain. But he's obviously gonna be at least He's gonna be an antagonist, not the antagonist of the film. Necessarily, if Robotnik's still around, and but he'll be an antagonist. And it'll be interesting to see all three characters, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, try to. Hopefully, they'll have a way of him kind of taking on all three at once, just to show how bad of a, or how, awesome of a character he can be, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, and then.
Yeah, no, I'm so pumped because we're also getting the Sonic Generations remastered, which is going to be cool because I love Sonic Generations. But Sonic's one of those franchises, man. Like, some of the games are hit and miss, but I think a lot of them do hit more than they miss, and the movies themselves are pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean, you've said that you'd prefer it if they weren't live action, but the live action doesn't ruin it. I mean, like, as long as they're not like, as long as the characters themselves don't look like video game avatars, or I should say, don't look like MODOK in a live action setting, and
oh my goodness,
fine. So,
yeah.
I mean,
but yeah, at least we're not getting the original Sonic design. It looks like an abomination. So that's cool.
Oh, well, who knows if it, if people. Maybe people would grow on it. Actually, you know what? Maybe they should use that design for a future villain or antagonist.
Yeah, right.
Kind of like
Sonic versus Evil Sonic.
Well, because there's a character called Metal Sonic, and maybe if they sort of kept the basic look of the character of the original design and just stripped him of his fur and made him look more metallic or something. Still get like he still needs to look like Metal Sonic. He can't just look like a chrome designed Sonic, or whatever.
Yeah,
something that was made out of ceramic.
Imagine if they just put like the ugly original Sonic in a metal suit and call it a day.
Yeah, but or actually,
people would.
That's another
out.
thing. What if Robotnik tried to clone Sonic and that's what he came up with?
Yo, yeah, dude, that'd be cool.
But he still needs to.
You're giving them ideas, though.
That's fine. I mean,
yeah, as long as they pay you.
Ideas are what makes movies,
That's true.
Even if they don't actually go with the ideas in the end, at least they're out there to be thought about. So
Now, what Sonic games have you played though?
oh, I don't remember. I think there was one that was kind of like, it was like a 3-dimensional version of the original games. Like you're kind of looking behind him, and it's kind of. I think that was. I don't know if that was for the Nintendo or what it was, but yeah, I don't remember. I've played some. I just don't remember which ones they're called because I think I had one around here a long time ago, but I don't know what happened to it.
It's somewhere.
Yeah, but I have played some, so but I'm not like into it like that sort of thing. So, but
Right.
and I mean, the movies kind of, the movies have story to them, whereas the games are kind of just level after level. That's all.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I haven't played that many Sonic games. Like I said, my favorite is Generations, but there is a story, but it's so.
They're basically just obstacle courses, and
Right.
there's no story
Yeah,
to them or anything. It's just one after
It's like
the
your
other.
classic Mario. It's like you beat the level and then you move on.
Yeah. So, but
I just think it's insane to me that like the whole world bullied the studio like so bad that they're like, "We'll redo it, guys. We're sorry."
yeah.
I just think that's really. I mean, it's horrible, but like the Sonic community is so jacked up and stupid that it's funny that everyone kind of agreed that this has to change type thing. It's kind of it's poetic in a weird way.
Yeah, even you agreed it had to be changed.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't think you
Drown that
bullied
original.
the studio.
No, I didn't. I never said anything to anyone. I kept it to myself, but I didn't like it. But
yeah, but
just rough.
Yeah, so
apparently though, there's a Chip and Dale movie out on Disney Plus. I think it's called like Rescue Rangers or something. And there's a scene where what's it called?
I don't know.
I don't know what it's called. Yeah, I don't know. But Ugly Sonic is in that movie. He makes a cameo appearance. It's kind of funny.
Ah, okay.
Just for some reason, even though it's not Disney, he's in it and he makes a joke. It's whatever.
Well, maybe after the third one, they could call this the Robotnik saga or trilogy, and then and then the next 3 they call maybe the Clone Trilogy, and it's all the clones, all the imperfect clones of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles.
Yeah.
And they basically
that's cool.
The bad Sonic design plus an equally bad Tails and Knuckles designs meeting the good ones, and then like the mastermind behind the whole thing is obviously would be in the third one of that trilogy.
Right.
Or at the very least, he'd be finally defeated.
Going.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can just keep. I mean, as long as they're good, just keep making Sonic movies. I mean, same with Mario. Mario, the movie was pretty good. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, I think if they play their cards right, they can continue to do those.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and I'm probably gonna. I don't plan on getting. Well, I should say I don't plan on seeing Kung Fu Panda 4 in theaters, but I'll probably get it when it comes out.
See, I haven't seen that trilogy in so many flipping years, man. I don't even remember what happens in those movies.
Oh, well, a panda learns Kung Fu. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I got that.
But, yeah, I've been thinking of watching them again.
Make Rise of the Guardians 2, please. I'm begging you.
Yeah, well. They should
and Tintin 2. I know that's not DreamWorks, but
they should make Legend of the Guardians 2.
Wasn't that the Owl movie?
Yeah. It's the one I
haven't seen that. Was it good?
Yeah, it's pretty decent. maybe see that one again too. A little eventually, but yeah, it's pretty decent, and there's lots of potential for a sequel at the end. So,
Ooh,
so
that's cool.
like just a small spoiler, like the main character's brother turns evil, and he thinks he dies at the end, but it's not confirmed that he's dead.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
And how much money? Like, was that movie successful?
Oh, I don't know. I don't even remember when it was released. It must have been late 2000s.
It's probably not then. I mean, there's a reason we haven't gotten a sequel, but yeah, I need to see it. I mean, I really enjoy movies like that where it's kind of like mythological in a sense. So
Oh,
I think it'll be
2010.
oh, okay. I mean, that's still old, but not
Yeah.
that crazy old, I guess.
But so yeah. Yeah, I've been just trying to take my mind off the MonsterVerse, and I forgot to say this in our last podcast. That's another reason I've been kind of seeming obsessed with the MonsterVerse lately. Not just because of wanting to do the darn podcast finally, but also because the next one's coming out soon. So,
Yeah.
If we had done it back when we did our second podcast, like I wanted to originally, then it wouldn't have been so bad, probably. But I did it just when when the next one's coming out this year. So.
No, I'm excited. I mean, hey, it's next month, right?
Yeah, it's the 29th of next month, and I'll probably see it a couple days later, just to, because I don't see things on day one necessarily. So
Okay.
but I might see it a few days later. Not necessarily.
I'll try not to get spoiled.
Yeah, well, that's why that's why I'm not even gonna bother searching it much anyway. If I do search it, it'll just be to look on Wikipedia and just to look towards the end to see if there's a post-credit scene. And I won't be looking at what it says of the scene, just if it says in the post-credit scene, like imagine those few words in brackets in the post-credit scene. Then I'll know there is one, and that's all I'll look for.
That's smart. It's so hard to not get spoiled by stuff now in today's man. Like some people are so a-holes online. They just post it like a month before some leak comes out.
Yeah,
you gotta be careful.
Well, rats in the sewer. Remember, rats in the sewer.
Yeah.
They're not healthy. They're not friendly, and they're not
hairy diseases.
Yeah. And they're not.
No one likes diseases.
They're not comfortable in the daylight. So.
Yeah, that's even more true. That's a good point.
But yeah, it's just. But yeah, that shouldn't be too bad. Especially when I'm planning on seeing it. Like I said, it'll be actually, I think April Fool's Day is when I'll see it. So if I post a spoiler, it probably will just be a I die at the end.
Joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I die at the end.
Well, that'd be
April
something.
Fools.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I don't know what I'm doing for April Fools. I gotta get something together, but no, I am excited to see that movie. What are you most excited? This will probably be the last thing, but what are you most excited for in this new Godzilla movie? Because I know we talked about it a lot in this time, you guys, but I mean, the trailer came out. It looks pretty crazy. Like they're throwing friggin' buildings and stuff. I mean, this is like it's crazy.
Well, this one you actually see Scar King in action for a change. You don't just see him look menacing. He's actually doing something. So, but yeah, I look forward to seeing how they're gonna. Well, first of all, like I look forward to seeing how exactly they're gonna get them to work together first, because like something might end up happening to both of them individually at first, and then they'll realize that they need to combine their efforts.
Like Batman and Superman work together.
Yeah, so... But I'm actually kind of hoping that maybe Godzilla saves Kong this time in some way, like kind of how Kong saved Godzilla in
Right.
GVK. Maybe this time Godzilla saves Kong. Return the favor.
I mean, there's so much you could do with this, though. That's the cool thing. Like, there's a lot of potential for not only sequels, but just this one. Like, it's crazy, because you think about it, you're like, how do you make a Kong movie? How do you make a Kong universe? And they did it. It's insane.
Yeah, and this isn't really...
And they're good.
This isn't really a spoiler. It's kind of been on... there's a toy line of it right now anyway. And this particular monster is already released, so it's not really a spoiler, and nobody really knows what this monster's role is, but there's one called Shimo.
Okay.
And he's kind of like an ice dragon looking thing, but we obviously don't see him very well in the trailer. He's there, obviously, but because that's what
I'd have to rewatch it.
Yeah, it's what the ice beam is coming from, obviously, because the toy itself says, he's got like frostbite breath or something.
Oh, the toy. That's funny. I didn't even think about the toys. That's crazy.
Yeah. But nobody, but still, because, we don't clearly see him in the trailers, so still nobody knows quite what his role is going to be, other than he's most likely going to be Godzilla's, he's going to be Godzilla's enemy to deal with. So
yeah, I'm pumped. Like, I never thought. What now? Oh, what do you think about the two people from the first Godzilla? You think they're gonna make an appearance at some point?
The two people.
Yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But
I hope, because I know, like, in the lore, it's like, oh, they're gone and they chose to leave, but I don't know. A part of me, I want to see them return, because I think they were cool characters, man.
A lot of people want to see a lot of people return, but like I said in our last podcast, it also depends on the actors, and I guess Aaron Taylor Johnson actually didn't really care so much about the franchise. It was just another job to help pay bills or something.
That makes sense. I mean, now he's Kraven the Hunter now, so you got to give him some credit, I guess.
But it would be interesting to see them again, and but I do like that we get Bernie and Andrews and Gia again. I mean, Gia kind of is understandable because Kong, and it'd be kind of weird her suddenly not being there when Kong is. Who else is gonna sign language communicate to Kong? But
yeah, you're right. She kind of has to be there, I guess.
But and so, but yeah, it'll be certainly interesting to see, and like I said in our last one, I hope there's a cool opening like in GVK. And
cool, like maybe like a fight scene to open it.
Well, no, like I mean like the title reveal thing.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because like last time they showed basically everything leading up to GVK, and I mean not necessarily doing the same exact thing and just adding GVK to the list, but like have some cool opening still of the thing, like maybe something similar, sort of like a cross between Godzilla 2014's opening, where it's just like things that you've never really seen before, and they're just kind of there for the opening. And then maybe combine a little bit of GVK's opening, like the formula, to that as well, or something. I don't know how that would work exactly, but yeah, I just hope it's cool and it's not just going to be a repeat of GVK, just with that one slapped in there somewhere.
Yeah. I mean,
But it's
I don't
still,
think it would be.
yeah, it would still be cool though. That's for sure.
I'm just excited to see where they take like the lore because there's so much.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
like the first one's so like easy. It's like, oh, Godzilla attacks or whatever. But now there's so much stuff that you can draw upon to
yeah.
kind of.
Well, I like in
It's
the
insane.
trailer.
And
I
you've
like
got
in the
these
trailer
shows.
how Andrews says, the Titans were the protectors of nature, and the great apes were the protectors of man. Like now they're kind of establishing that they're not quite the same. Like Kong, I mean, maybe they are still Titans to a degree, but they're great apes now, not Titans.
Right.
So they're kind
Oh
of
yeah, that's a good point.
they're kind of the guardians of man, while the Titans are the guardians of nature, or something. And so it's kind of man and nature having to coexist, I guess.
So it's like the end of Jurassic World Dominion.
Yeah.
We gotta do it, guys.
Yeah. Except it's better because all the fights in Jurassic World, well, the Jurassic Saga, they look like kids play compared to these fights.
True.
Yeah, that's actually what I meant to say last podcast. I was asking, like, when I was saying, do you think they're better than the Jurassic fights? I meant, do the Jurassic fights look more like kids play compared to these?
Oh, that's what you meant. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I do think. Because there's only so much you could do with a dinosaur in the jungle. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, when you put these monsters in a city...
They have hands and everything,
it's insanity.
Like, they're not just biting each other the whole time. They're actually, like, slamming each other around. And, and Kong, in the sense of Kong, he's actually grabbing things to hit with.
Yeah. Now, what's up with that power glove?
Well, a lot of people are thinking that something happens to Kong's arm. And after seeing that shot of the ice blast that he's trying to block with the axe, I'm kind of thinking maybe he ends up getting frostbite on the arm or something. And then the glove, the beast glove, helps give him some usage back out of his arm. Because I don't think it would it's permanently crippled, but obviously it's damaged still in the moment that he's not able to use it effectively. So they give him the beast glove to sort of give him some of that, fighting effectiveness back with it. And obviously it's gonna have like some sort of energy attack to it as well, as you probably saw when Scar King throws half that building at him and he just bangs it, But
yeah, there's so many awesome fight scenes in these movies, man. It's crazy. Like, I can't wait to see. They keep one-upping themselves.
Yeah. And people are calling
Same with Mission Impossible.
People are calling MonsterVerse garbage and all that, and -1's the best now, and anything that isn't serious like -1 or the original Godzilla or whatever is, irrelevant. But newsflash, folks, it's all relevant. If it's Godzilla, it's all relevant. No, none of them are less relevant than the other. Just like Star Wars.
I also think it's weird that people... Yeah. It's weird that people are like, oh, these movies are dumb. It's like, they're not. Like, if you actually watch these movies, like...
how do people know this one's dumb? Have they seen it yet?
Yeah. I know. But the funny thing is that on the surface, it's just monsters fighting. But if you actually watch the movies, there's a lot of lore and, like, stuff you need to... They're deep. They're not just, like, stupid monster movies,
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
crazy. People
the monster
stupid.
fights are the most entertaining parts of it, sure. But, like, the character stuff, I don't think it's all that bad, as much as a lot of people think that there's, it's like, people are saying all these characters from King of the Monsters and GVK are horrible because, they're relevant to the story, or like they just want to see monsters they just basically want to see an entire movie with just monsters, no talking or anything, just see the kind of physical dialogue between the monsters. Like if they like each other, they wave. If they hate each other, it's like boom. Like who needs dialogue when you could just do the physical things? But
Yeah.
But the acting, I don't think is that bad. I mean, speaking of, this is the very last thing. We're an hour and 20, as I predicted. You were saying there's some of the horrible scenes of Padme in the prequel trilogy where she's barely emoting. What scenes were that? What's a scene? What's one scene in particular? Because I don't really notice that. I mean, you're talking about when she's kind of straight-faced looking at Anakin and she delivers that line you hate so much. And
I mean, it's one of those things. There's a little bit of it in episode 1 where she's just like talking to Jar Jar, or like they're in Naboo and they're going over the battle plans before they go to feed and all that, and she's just kind of standing there looking at the camera. Episode 2, when Anakin and Padme are kind of like announcing their love for each other or whatnot. It's just, she's just kind of standing there, just, I truly deeply love you. She just kind of says that.
You'd think that she'd be crying her heart out in that moment, right? If she really did.
Yeah, I know. Episode 3 isn't bad. Like, she's better in that. I know there's that one line where she's like, Anakin's like, I love you. And she's like, I love you, but only because I'm so... No, I'm beautiful because I'm so in love. It's like, get out of here. Yeah, it's not that
Get out
bad,
of here.
but
Bring in Rey Skywalker or somebody. Or, better yet, bring in Black Widow. She's hotter.
Yeah, right. We need some emotion in this scene. I don't know. I understand why Anakin was not emoting, because that was the point. Like, George Lucas was like, act like Vader, act like a robot, which I don't really agree with, but whatever. But Padme isn't, like, do more. Like, Leia and Rey and Jin and Kira, I don't know, they're all better than Padme, because what's-her-face, Natalie Portman's not a bad actress. Like, I've seen her in other things, and she's fine.
Well, she's good in the Thor films, at least the ones I've seen.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just insanity that she's, like, really...
But she's also younger in those movies, so, of course, maybe her acting wasn't quite at the level yet or something, and she's like, I should be more like a mannequin than a person at this time.
Yeah.
Just like...
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I watch it and I cringe, but I mean, I love the prequels. I really do. Like, they're really fun movies and they add a lot of lore, but
even when you call them names,
it's just one of those things. What's that?
Even when you call them names.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, you got it.
Although some names, I think you kind of go a little overboard. Same with Mission Impossible too, actually. But because those are kind of the names that I hear haters use on movies.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to compare, if you wanted to compare Mission Impossible 2 to Ghost Protocol, it should have been more like comparing water to iced tea instead of muddy water to, the sweet stuff from Narnia.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But moldy bread.
I'll redo them. I'll redo everyone.
Moldy bread compared to Lembas bread.
There you go. That's a good one. I'm going to use that. I like that one. That one's good.
Well, as long as it's a movie you absolutely don't like, even if it's in a series you don't mind, but don't make it sound like you're hating on it though, because that's kind of the impression I was getting when you were saying that, is like maybe not outright hating it, but you're kind of not really its best friend either.
Yeah, I'm in the middle.
Yeah, but
anyways, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out my wording.
Yeah, but anyways, we're cutting in on an hour and 25, so I hope you guys enjoyed listening to our 12th podcast.
Jeez, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, technically it's my 14th one because I had 2 with Echo. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah.
And you've got way more with Echo than I do, so. But. Yeah, so.
That's a good point. But yeah, I can't wait to do more. Well, definitely, there's other topics I wanted to talk about. Video game difficulty and all that, but we'll save that for the next one. But I'm excited for sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I'll have Recon Troopers link down below. And like I said, man, I had a good time. And awesome. Okay, good.
I gotta put that in there now.
Yeah.
It's not one-sided.
Anyway, yeah. Thank you, by the way. Jeez, it's about time.
I mean, Echo has the excuse because his computer apparently is broken still, even after all this time.
Yeah, that's a.
What's the story,
yeah, I don't know how
Echo?
that
Tell me in the comments down below. I want to know.
Yeah, get your computer fixed, dude. What are you doing? Jeez, that's gonna be the next podcast, you guys. Just us complaining about his PC not working.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'll leave you guys here. Thanks for if you watch the whole thing, make sure to leave a comment if you watch the whole thing or listen to it, whatever. But yeah, can't wait to do more, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Later, folks.